Imagine you're trapped. Behind you, a towering army, weapons at the ready. In front of you, a massive sea, imposing and impassable. Your only hope? A miracle. That is exactly where the people of Israel found themselves in the story of the crossing of the Red Sea. Today, you'll discover how this event changed everything, not just for them, but for anyone who's ever faced fear, doubt, or the impossible. In the book of Exodus, chapter 14, we read how Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the waters were divided. What seemed like certain defeat turned into a pathway of deliverance. Stay with me as we unpack the setting, the miracle, the lessons, and what this all means for you today. The Israelites had been enslaved in Egypt for generations. When Pharaoh finally let them go after the 10 plagues, God didn't take them on the shortest route. Instead, he led them straight toward the sea. Then, just as you'd expect from a stubborn leader, Pharaoh changed his mind. He gathered his army and pursued them, catching up right as they hit the shoreline. The result? The Hebrews found themselves pinned between an overwhelming military force and an impassable body of water. It's a scene many of us can relate to in our own lives, isn't it? That feeling when freedom finally seems within reach, right before a new wave of fear strikes. You're out of the old life, but the new life doesn't feel safe yet. That tension, that space between what you've escaped and what's ahead, is often where true faith is forged. It's the crucible where we are forced to decide if we'll trust God or give in to our circumstances. And then comes the miracle moment. The text is so vivid. Exodus 14 says, "Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and on their left." Just pause and picture that. Imagine walking through the middle of the sea on completely dry ground, with towering walls of water held back on either side of you. This wasn't just a narrow escape. It was a breathtaking spectacle of divine power and protection, designed to leave no doubt about who was in control. And the story doesn't end there. When the Egyptian army, in their arrogance, tried to follow the same path, the waters came crashing back down, overwhelming them completely. The meaning is crystal clear. God didn't just rescue his people. He decisively defeated the very source of their oppression once and for all. But there's a deeper layer here. This incredible event wasn't just about the Israelites physically crossing a sea. It was about them learning to trust God when the way forward looked utterly impossible. As God told them right before the miracle, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today." They had to stand firm in their faith before they could step forward on dry land. So let's pull out 3 powerful lessons from this story that we can apply directly to our lives. First, God often meets you right where you feel most helpless. The Israelites had nowhere else to turn. The sea blocked them in front, and the army was closing in from behind. In that moment of complete powerlessness, all they could do was cry out and trust. It's a powerful reminder that when you feel cornered, when you've exhausted all your own options, that is often the exact moment God is preparing to show up in a big way. Your dead end might just be his starting line. Second, miracles often happen right in the middle of the mess. The Israelites weren't teleported to a safe, comfortable place. They had to walk through the muddy, intimidating seabed with those terrifying walls of water looming over them. They weren't completely safe yet. They were in a corridor of uncertainty. By faith and obedience, they stepped forward into that uncomfortable space. Maybe you're in a place like that right now, unsure, a little scared, caught between what was and what will be. The crossing of the Red Sea reminds us that your current discomfort could be the very corridor leading to your breakthrough. And third, the crossing isn't just a physical event. It's profoundly spiritual. This miracle became a powerful symbol of deliverance from slavery, not just the physical slavery in Egypt, but slavery to fear, to sin, and to anything that holds you back. Scholars and theologians point out how the Red Sea crossing is referenced later in Scripture as a picture of redemption and new life. It's a foreshadowing of the ultimate freedom we find through faith. Each of these lessons offers hope, direction, and the courage you need to move forward. So how do we apply this to our lives today? It's one thing to hear the story, but it's another to live it out. If you're feeling stuck, paralyzed by fear or indecision, I want you to reframe your thinking. Ask yourself, what if this dead end isn't a dead end at all? What if this is God's way of forcing me to look up and rely on Him? If you're facing a massive obstacle, maybe it's financial, relational, or emotional, remember how the wall of water became the path forward. You don't have to figure out how to walk around your problem. Sometimes, God makes a way for you to walk right through it by faith. And finally, remember this crucial detail. You do not walk alone. The same pillar of cloud by day and fire by night that led the Israelites is a beautiful picture of God's constant presence. He leads you, guides you, and protects you, even when the path is dark or unclear. Now, I want you to take a moment to pause and reflect. What sea are you standing before today? What impossible gap in your life needs crossing? I'd be honored if you'd share that in the comments below. Let's support one another. The crossing of the Red Sea isn't just a dusty event in history. It's a living, breathing story for you and for me. It proves that God can part seas of fear, create walls of safety out of what seems like certain destruction, and transform our biggest crises into our greatest testimonies. If this message touched your heart today, here's what you can do next. Please like this video. It really helps others discover it too. And as I mentioned, comment below with the sea you refacing and how you believe God might make a way. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you won't miss our next deep dive into a powerful Bible story and what it means for your life. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, keep trusting, keep believing, and keep walking the path that God is making right in front of you.